The Indian mid-capacity motorcycle market has never felt this alive, and the adventure category in that is at its peak. Every major manufacturer wants a slice of this pie and already has their contenders in the field. Riders are upgrading, trails are being explored, and the adventure touring culture in India, it has never ever been stronger. And right in the middle of this, BMW Motorrad just walked in with something that honestly the market is not ready for. The BMW F450 GS.
What's down all up lately? I've been up a lot. What's turning up? Watch me turn it up a notch. I keep it low, no, I don't like those busy spots. But if you know me, then go hold me up a spot.
Built in India at TVS's Hosur facility, the F450 GS carries two of the most aspirational badges in the motorcycling history: BMW and GS. But here's the thing, and this is exactly why I'm making this video, to tell you why I feel this motorcycle is going to be a gamble of misplaced expectations, both for BMW and the Indian market. But to understand where the F450 GS is going, you need to understand where BMW has already been in the mid-capacity market. And that story starts with the G310 GS.
इसके पीछे कहानी है, सुना क्या?
When BMW launched the G310 GS, the initial excitement was real. Think about it, a BMW, a GS, and under 4 lakh rupees. For a lot of riders upgrading from their 250 to 300cc bikes, the G310 GS felt like a dream. It had the badge, the looks, the premium GS identity that everyone associated with the legendary R1250 GS. And then, reality hit. Service costs started rolling in. Spare parts cost disproportionately more than what you'd expect from a TVS manufactured motorcycle, and for many budgeted riders who had stepped up from a 250cc bike, this was a gut punch. And the issue wasn't the product. The issue was misplaced expectations. BMW sold an aspirational brand promise to a customer who wasn't financially prepared for the BMW ownership experience. This resulted in a steep drop in sales and a lot of parallels drawn to other options in the market that offered a lot more for the money, apart from a BMW badge and the GS heritage. Cut to today, where BMW re-enters the market with the F450 GS. This is not a G310 GS with a bigger engine. This is an entirely different product, where the G310 GS, in my opinion, had just the badge and the BMW colors in common with its bigger siblings. The F450 GS has inherited the latest 1300 GS's design language, character, and appeal in the most authentic way while keeping it grounded and not over the top. The heart of this motorcycle is a brand new 420cc parallel twin engine with a never seen before 135-degree crankpin offset. The two pistons fire in an uneven rhythm, giving it a characterful mix of sound, performance, and refinement. BMW has also managed to squeeze out 48 horses and 43 Newton meters of torque, and thanks to the use of magnesium, they've managed to keep the overall curb weight under 178 kgs. These are very impressive numbers. But what's even more impressive is the crown jewel of the F450 GS, the Easy Ride clutch. At its core, ERC is an advanced centrifugal clutch. What it practically means is you never need to pull the clutch lever in normal riding.
I don't think I need a clutch for the transmission. Just that. Strangely, it doesn't crawl at idle. It should have, but it doesn't. Okay, after 2000 RPM is where it starts to pick up. Weird. That's a weird lag.
You pull away, stop, upshift, downshift. Everything is handled by ERC. Even if you come to a standstill at a higher gear, the engine doesn't stall. The ERC opens up and disconnects the engine from the drivetrain automatically.
What happens when you have a higher gear at a lower speed? It shows you a shift assistant. Recommendation: select a lower gear. That's pretty cool. How bad can it get? Let's see. Select first gear to drive off. Nice.
And this is a revelation off-road. Riding through rocks, gravel, and tricky surfaces was literally a cakewalk, even with a pillion on the bike.
मी धरू का? मला क्लच वापरायची गरज नाही, मी हातात धरतो. ERC
No stalling, no hiccups.
वाह with the pillion ना सही है easily जाते.
Combine that with the quick shifter, you pretty much ride this motorcycle without ever touching the clutch lever. That is a genuine technological advancement for this segment. But the ERC does come with its own challenges.
Only after 2000 rpm is when you will get power. 2500 rpm. I'm not a fan of that. The power should be from the get-go. There's a lag. Like see here there's no power here, and then suddenly there's a surge of power, which is very weird. And even if you modulate your clutch and then see, even then you won't get as much power. It's very weird. Okay, so being in the gear doesn't help you at all. No matter if you hold the clutch, don't hold the clutch, parking it is going to be difficult.
At higher speeds though, the ERC and quick shifter work beautifully in combination.
I'm kind of getting the hang of the quick shifter now, and actually even my boots are new right now. This is the first time I'm using these boots. This is very weird, dude. These have not been released yet, and I'm not gonna reveal the brand yet, but I'm testing these boots, and they have about a month left to go live, to go launch. So you will see them soon in the market, but then for now I have the privilege of testing them, and they're holding up pretty well. They're very, very stiff right now, as they should be. They are enduro boots, so they are going to be stiff. They feel very, very solid.
You're in triple digit speeds within no time, and the bike sticks to a straight line even at 130 kmph. The engine is completely relaxed, and there are hardly any vibrations up until 6000 rpm.
Very stable, very, very stable, very refined as well. Pretty planted, even on corners. Very planted.
Once you're past that, you start feeling the buzz at 6500, and the vibrations are pretty evident at 7000 rpm.
There's good power, by the way, and relatively the refinement is obviously it's a twin cylinder engine, so there's going to be refinement. But then up at the very top, around 6500 rpm, it is slightly buzzy, and post 7000 rpm it is so buzzy that the mirrors also get blurrier. Like it gets very, very buzzy. See, you can't even see anything. Look at that, there's hardly anything visible. And probably this may change since the engines are new now. I hope that the first service fixes that, but it rides very well.
And by the time I went past 140 kmph, I did notice some lack of stability due to heavy crosswinds on the open highway that I was riding on.
Well, there's a lot of undulations on the road. I mean, 130 is very easily doable, but then post that, it doesn't feel confident.
And this is not because of the suspension setup. The KYB forks at the front are well set up to be firm and not too stiff or too soft. You also get full preload and damping adjustability to tune it even further to your liking. But even in their factory settings, they soak up undulations on the road while keeping the bike stable at high speeds. It is in fact the curb weight of 178 kgs that is surely a feature, but works against the bike at high speeds.
And the thing is that it is quite light, right? There's no weight as such at the top. So because of the wind and crosswinds especially, you don't get the stability.
It is not scary, neither is it dangerous, but the bike does get nudged around more than, say, a heavier touring machine would. But lightweight doesn't mean cheap. The F450 GS is built like a tank. The plastics feel supremely solid, metal parts have incredible finish, and the switchgear and rotary knob has weight and precision to it. The display and overall dash reminds you of the GS that you are riding, and this goes way beyond having a BMW logo in your field of sight. This GS is much more GS than the G310 GS could ever be. And all of this coming at an introductory price of 4.7 lakhs is honestly very impressive. Which is why it brings us back to the gamble of misplaced expectations.
Godfather, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
I know you'll hate me for saying this, but honestly, I was expecting the F450 GS to start at Rs 5 lakhs and go up to 6.5 lakhs ex-showroom for the trophy variant with the tubeless spoked wheels. I've ridden the trophy variant, and looking at what BMW has brought to us, I am well aware of the fact that the BMW experience does come at a premium cost. It's funny how we never compare a BMW X1 to a Kia Seltos, for example. Even if they have similar sizes and engine capacities, they belong to completely different platforms and markets. And I've never seen an X1 owner complain about the cost of ownership, because that's the expectation we have set to begin with. And when it comes to bikes, there's a lot of parallels drawn in terms of engine size, power, components, and well, the bike for the buck. I am not at all victimizing BMW here. They are manufacturing these bikes at TVS, and that should definitely bring down the costs. But this should not stop at just the cost of the motorcycle, but also service and cost of spares. The brand can't be aggressive with the product price and then go back to being BMW when it comes to the ownership. BMW played it very smart by offering the base variant at 4.7 lakhs and then offering the spoked wheels as an accessory that can be bought separately, which, let's face it, makes a lot of sense. Tubeless spoked wheels are more of an aesthetic rather than a utilitarian trend in the Indian ADV market. Very few of us are going to go hard off-roading to make full use of the spoked wheel strength, let alone going off-road on a BMW. So offering them as an accessory allows the price of the trophy variant to drop down substantially to 5.3 lakhs while keeping the wheels as an option for someone who really needs it. BMW is definitely aggressive with its pricing this time for what it's offering, but at the same time, it is setting an expectation with that aggressive pricing. A low-cost entry barrier tempts anyone that never considered BMW as an option to start considering and pushing their budgets that were already capped for maybe a Himalayan 450 or a KTM Adventure 390 that tops at max 3.9 lakhs. Adding another lakh to make it 4.9 for say the middle exclusive variant of the F450 GS, one will already punch way above their weight and then set themselves for an expensive subscription of the BMW's premium ownership experience. What I feel, and this is my personal opinion, the F450 GS is not for a rider that has ridden a 250 to 300cc motorcycle and now is looking for an upgrade. Firstly, the jump from a 300 to 450cc is not substantial when it comes to power. In terms of refinement, sure, but you won't get more performance with that upgrade for the amount of money that you're paying. But if you absolutely love the F450 GS and look at it as an emotional purchase rather than a practical one, and have pockets deep enough to afford owning one in the long run, nothing is stopping you. But where the F450 GS makes the most sense is for an experienced rider that has owned a bigger motorcycle in the past, for example a 1300 GS or a Kawasaki ZX-10R, that's looking for a mid-capacity lightweight motorcycle in the premium segment that's easy to ride, less of a hassle to maintain, and works like an all-rounder motorcycle. This person has years of context of owning a superbike, the expense that is attached to it, and the mindset of choosing exclusivity over mass market. This person also has the spending appetite to easily afford maintaining it in the long run, considering the cost of service and spare parts. This can also be a great option for influencers as an investment. Making content on an aspirational product like this will get you a lot of views and money as a result. And you're definitely going to see a lot of them moving forward. Again, it all comes down to setting the expectations right. If you misplace your expectations of a premium brand coming at a cheaper price, you're already down the wrong lane. The F450 GS is definitely a wonderful bike for the price it comes at. It is just a matter of what you expect from it. Thank you for watching.